I know that just a couple of days ago we talked about the languishing sales in regards to Anheuser Busch precipitated by the Bud Light debacle that happened all the way back in April, and that Bud Light, yes, is still struggling to sell beer in North America over the trans backlash. 13% quarter over quarter, so quarter 3 of 2022 was 13% better than the entirety of 2023's quarter 3, but if you famoose some of the numbers overseas, it's not quite as bad, guys. Actually, we're growing around the world. What's your domestic product like? Oh yeah, we're down like 30%, but don't worry about that. You know, hey, we're making up for other things, okay? Just because our brand, our flagship brand, well, our former flagship brand, there are other beers that are performing a hell of a lot better. Not under our umbrella. Everything's down across the board. But hey, it's only a matter of time before everybody forgets this happened. And you know what? We're totally doing fine. Obviously, a healthy brand, a thriving company, makes gigantic partnership deals with the NFL, which we don't know the financials behind that, but obviously a company that is totally fine and successful would gain such great benefit off of an NFL partnership as public as they've had that one. They wouldn't need to spend, $105 million per year with another professional sports brand, one that actually has a good reputation and has since taken a hit because of their partnership. I'm referring to the UFC contract, of course. No. That's exactly what healthy businesses do, right? But as we kind of know, and I need not tread this well-worn ground, because men lie, women lie, and in this case, stunning and brave trans people lie, but numbers do not. Volumes, dollar sales, favorability, it's all down across the board. But we can go to anecdotal evidence. People that supported or endorsed the Bud Light boycott, well, they made a hell of a lot more money in totality than anybody actually brewing Bud Light. I think that we very much know that to be the case. But what about the other side of this equation? What about the people that stood behind Bud Light? Well, guess what, guys? They ended up reaping a similar windfall. Garth Brooks keeps on winning. You remember, he was opening up a brand new honky-tonk down there in Nashville, Tennessee, and he was going to be proudly stalking Bud Light in the face of several other country music-themed bars out there. Decided to go, well, our customers don't really want it, so we're not going to keep it on tap. And well, that's been well documented. I've got several videos on the channel dictating the ongoings at the time of the Garth Brooks situation. But guys, he weathered the storm and he came out the other side. I'm sure this has something completely to do with the Bud Light situation, and it's not just some, shitty outlet just trying to capitalize on some clickbait. Obviously not. No, couldn't possibly be the case. Garth Brooks keeps on winning. Shares more big news that folks who tried to cancel him over Bud Light won't like. Was anybody actually trying to cancel him? I'm joking. This is entire trash, but this is what they're trying to do because the media, well, they're kind of looking, okay, because they're trying to also play both sides of the fence, because what's the big story in the media right now? Well, it's the Israel-Palestine conflict, and well, they want to go in a certain direction, but they also know that, if they run in a certain direction, another side's going to end up trying to cancel them, so they're trying to all, in general, steer away from that, and well, they don't have anything else to talk about because they're all boring bitches that can't come up with any substance on their own, so you got to go back and repackage old ideas with somewhat related developments. It really wasn't long ago that some folks swore that Garth Brooks would be canceled for the grave sin of selling. He wouldn't shy away from selling Bud Light. Wow, Brian, normally when you're writing an article, you don't want to have a grammatical error in your first sentence, but I understand. You probably wrote this through gritted teeth. We'll stick it to those goddamn chuds. And they thought that they were going to cancel Garth Brooks. I love me some Thunder Rolls, you bunch of bigots. As soon as it opened, yes, Friends in Low Places Bar and Honky Tonk in Nashville. Those people have been hating the past week, though, because Brooks has been winning big. Oh, the latest win? Okay, how has he been winning? Like, okay, outside of just him popping up in the newsfeed and then just being, kind of a hilarious figure during the height of all this stuff. It's like, I don't know, maybe if you're like a fan of Garth Brooks, like maybe you've been paying attention to his goings on, but I thought he was on tour or some shit like that. Like he's got other more important things to do than worry about his one avenue of revenue, given the fact that most celebrity endorsed bars kind of go under and don't really have the biggest success rate. So just kind of knowing that this is, trying to push a boulder up the hill with this. So anything that would be detrimental to the launch of the brand, well, you'd want to steer away from it. But no, guys, he's winning big because he didn't kowtow to the boycott, those dastardly conservatives with their embrace of cancel culture, right? Brooks announced Thursday night that he will be featured artist on Amazon's live music performance alongside the NFL's Black Friday football broadcast that night. It gets better. Well, you should probably start, okay, if you're going to preface that with it gets better from there, it's like, okay, cool. One of the biggest country music acts of all time got a spot working a halftime show for the NFL. Like, okay, so it makes it, I guess you can kind of tie those two things together because of Bud Light sponsorship deal with the NFL, and somebody who very prominently was actually just kind of on the fence about it. It's like, well, if the customers want it, we're just going to go for it. And then he had that groveling apology afterwards. He had a fairly nuanced take to begin with, but he just ended up doubling down, making himself look like a jackass. And well, we haven't heard anything about that bar so far, but don't worry, guys, it gets better. That will be opening night of Brooks' bar, and the concert will be live streamed from the establishment. How is that better? Per Billboard, the concert will begin at 7 p.m. with Brooks performing new music live for the first time. The site said that the country music icon will also perform several of his legendary hits, as well as songs from his new album, Time Traveler. Oh boy, that's what everybody, whenever you go and see a musical legend, that's always what you want to hear. The new stuff off the new record, right? You don't ever go to a Garth Brooks concert because you want to hear from his back catalog of hits. No. You want to hear off the new Time Traveler album. Whatever. Said to be released November 7th. Oh boy, it'll be out next week in time for everybody to not care and for you guys to write another, puff piece like this. I haven't heard anything about the bar besides, he's going to be performing at it. Well, I'm sure that, opening night is going to be gangbusters. And unless Garth decides to play every single night at his bar, don't anticipate that continuing, but all right. Also, for the folks who swore they were canceling Garth Brooks, did they though? I didn't see that. Everybody was just kind of laughing at him, go, aha, but all right. Also, I'm sorry. Billboard notes that his new album will be released as part of a 7-disc box set. Okay, cool. So he's kind of doing like what the comic book industry does. Hey guys, we got a bunch of variant covers, and wow, yeah, our shitty book, individual sales is not all that great, but the new Batman just sold 50,000 issues. Is really good considering, like a couple of decades ago that would have been selling 500,000 copies. But yeah, don't worry, guys. Garth Brooks keeps on winning. Yeah, but what about Bud Light though? Okay, what about Bud Light? Yeah, there was a little bit of some behind-the-scenes shenanigans in order to make that, we're doing better across the board, don't worry about it, don't look into the numbers, it's just, the United States numbers that are down. Everywhere else around the world, everything's fine, everything's great and fantastic. Shut your mouth, you goddamn bigots. Don't look into the numbers. Spoiler, somebody ended up looking into the numbers, and AB InBev price hikes help offset Bud Light boycott. While all of those rebates might have been going around the United States, the clearance pricing, $5 cases, that wasn't happening around the rest of the world, and that's how you can go ahead and offset some stuff. So Anheuser Busch InBev, the owner of Bud Light, and Stella Artois moved over 3% higher on Tuesday morning after price hikes allowed the company to reiterate its full year guidance. There we go. So everything's down, nobody's buying your product, just go ahead and charge more for it. Revenues lifted by 5% in the third quarter of 2023 to reach more than $15 billion US. Volume slumped by 3.4%, with own beer brands falling by 4%, echoing yet another round of price hikes for the brewer, with rivals Heineken and Carlsberg both relied heavily on pricing over the last financial year. Third quarter underlying profits lifted from 1.6 billion US in 2022 to 17.3 billion in 2023. See why they're focusing on more broad endeavors than just simply the United States. You're doing all of your tallying there, but they also opened up a bunch of different avenues. So yeah, of course, that's why they don't really give a shit, and they can go ahead and experiment with all of their goofy ass advertisement on home turf. Maybe because they see, the United States under the current administration with the current economic climate, it's kind of a sinking ship. thinking that's kind of the bellwether of this. Off trading in Europe and the turbulent performance in the United States, there it is, led by the continued boycott to Bud Light. No, everybody's fine. And if you didn't support the boycott, in fact, you're actually booming right now. Underlying earnings are expected to grow between 4 and 8% for the full year, with revenues to grow slightly above this rate, the brewer was able to reiterate after the period's performance. Yes, everything's great across the seas. Just don't, famoose any of the numbers and realize that we're actually just charging more. What's our volume sold? It's about the same, but we're making a lot more money because we're charging more for it. All right, fantastic. But what about your competitors? Oh, right, they're actually doing well and picking up the slack at home where beer is of this caliber actually sells the best. Yeah, they're capitalizing on this. Molson Coors continues to benefit from the Bud Light boycott. Tell us more, kids. Molson Coors Beverage Company posted better than expected earnings for the third quarter on Thursday and raised profit guidance for the full year as it continues to gain market share from boycott of Bud Light. But the stock, TAP, up 2%, fell 1.7% as full year guidance implied some softness in the fourth quarter, which the company sought to explain would not be the case. Oh no, it's going to fall, but at the same time, Bud Light continues to Bud Light, so actually it's going to be fine. The company posted net income of $430.7 million, or $1.98 a share in the third quarter, almost double the $216.4 million, or 99 cents per share, posted the year earlier. Yo, that's a hell of a good return. I didn't even realize that their shares would be that low. Adjusted per share earnings came to $1.92, well ahead of the $1.56 FactSet consensus. Words are hard. Sales rose 12%. Yo, that's almost as much as they dropped off for Anheuser Busch to $3.298 billion from the $2.935 billion from a year ago. Also, ahead of the $3.242 billion FactSet consensus. There we go. The company is now experiencing its full year sales to come in at the high end of the guidance for a single-digit increase. Not bad. It is raising its adjusted pre-tax profit guidance to growth of 32% to 36% versus prior guidance of a 23% to 26% increase. The guidance increase is driven by a healthier U.S. beer industry. Oh, wow. I thought, no. We're moving away from that stuff. Nobody likes light beer anymore. That's a fratty, out of touch, old school humor crowd. They don't like to drink beer anymore. They just want seltzer and queers. More robust brand volume performance. Yes, everything across the board is going up, unless of course you're under the Anheuser Busch umbrella. Don't worry about that. Higher than expected pricing, primarily in Canada. Yeah, everything's just getting gouged out of our asses, but that's another topic for another time. As well as lower net interest expense due to higher cash balances, generating increased interest income. That's very interesting. So these multinational corporations actually have more cash on hand, so then they're far more stable in their projections. That's very interesting. Very interesting. It's almost like they're anticipating something happening next year and they're just keeping as much dry powder ready as possible. I think they know something that we don't know in general, mostly that Bud Light, yeah, they're going to continue to do what they're doing right now, which is just good for everybody else that's out there. Oh, except for Garth Brooks, though. He's doing better than ever, guys. Just don't look at the performance of his bar this time next year. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.